All right, guys. What is going on? Welcome in here. A little Kurt Magoosh Sports. Wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. This is one of those videos, too, guys, that this is one of those important videos. And sometimes topics come up, right? And they don't have layers to them, but this topic has incredible layers to it. We're going to get all into it. Russell Wilson, and this is news, he said that one of his three destinations is the New York Football Giants. So the New York Giants have a chance to acquire a Hall of Fame quarterback in Russell Wilson. Let's get into the pros and cons of Russell Wilson. All right, let's analyze this from every perspective. All right. And this is interesting because I really think the fan base on this topic, 5 out of 10 of them, I think it goes right down the middle. Just like should Joe Judge be retained as a head coach? I bet a lot of people probably don't want Joe Judge, maybe 6 out of 10, but maybe there's 4 out of 10 that are like, wait, they don't want to go through the coaching search again. So, here we go. I'm gathering the official age of Russell Wilson because I know about his accolades. Okay, he just turned 33 years old, Russell Wilson. That will be in the con list. But let's talk about the New York Giants, okay? Ever since the Super Bowl run with Eli Manning in 2011, that stretched into 2012, they have not made the playoffs. They have lost one playoff game to the Green Bay Packers. 14-13, we all remember that, disaster for the half, but then the Giants crawled back in the game, 14-13. Then Aaron Rodgers drove them down the field like Swiss cheese. The Giants' defense fell apart because the offense in the first half couldn't keep them on the field. That could be a whole nother segment. Point is, the Giants, Eli Manning tried it with Odell Beckham. They had a little bit of passing success. They never really had the defense. James Betcher. We know the Giants have not been there in 10 years. Okay, no division championships in 9 years for the New York Giants. None. The record against the Eagles, Cowboys, so it has been dire. Okay, being a Giants fan has been bad. They are the worst team statistically in the NFL. They're even worse than Cleveland in the last 4 or 5 years. They have been the cellar of the National Football League. That's important perspective to analyze when addressing this, is where the franchise has been in recent history. Daniel Jones, 12-25 as a starter. This is my argument. The New York Giants and their defense is getting closer to being really competitive. Last year, even with Colt McCoy, they beat Russell Wilson. He saw that last year. The defense last year against the Eagles, both games, played very well. Against the Cowboys, the defense has shown, even this year, against the Falcons, they allow 17. Against Denver, not very good, but allow like 20. They were bad against Denver. All right, Kansas City, really good. Against the Bucs, a really tough team, they did not show great effort off of the bye. We can admit that. But against Miami, really good. Against the Eagles, phenomenal. Against Carolina and the Vegas Raiders and Derek Carr, they played really, really well. So this is the pros about getting Russell Wilson. The pros about getting Russell Wilson are you're getting a Hall of Fame quarterback. You're getting a guy who has done it. You're getting a guy who defies all odds. A guy who went to a team in the Seattle Seahawks and had to defeat Matt Flynn, the guy who's getting paid all that money. Third rounder, said he's been short his whole life, leaves NC State for a Big Ten school in Wisconsin, is the best quarterback at a school that's never really had great quarterback play. Okay. Russell Wilson is a culture-changing guy. The way he's met with his wide receivers, the way that he's made DK Metcalf, who in college only knew a couple of routes, and you see that he doesn't really get in and out of his breaks. He's made DK Metcalf into an absolute superstar. He's made Tyler Lockett. He's elevated the play of Tyler Lockett. End of games. How many times have you seen Russell Wilson come through in the clutch, in the playoffs? Against Minnesota, the Blair Walsh game, he missed a field goal. Against Atlanta, when he was in his rookie season, he forced Matt Ryan and Matt Bryant to make a field goal in order to beat him. He was incredible in that game. 4 interceptions against the Packers. But in overtime, guess who came through? It's Russ. It's Russell Wilson against the Patriots. We all forget how he had that unbelievable catch by Javon Curse. He was going blow for blow with Tom Brady. This guy's done it at the biggest levels before. He is a known quantity. Now, you might argue that because this year that goes into the cons. But the known quantity of Wilson is when Wilson is healthy, he's mobile. He has the best deep ball he is probably a top 3 deep ball in the NFL. He wins, he changes culture, he knows everything about football, and he's aggressive. And in the clutchest of moments, he has a neutral mind. He is special. He is spiritual. He is powerful. All right. So Russell Wilson, and for a team that has been dead on offense, really for the last 7 years, probably since 6 years, the team's been dead on offense with an older Eli and then adding in Daniel Jones, who really hasn't panned out. 12-25 as a starter. I know that some people still believe in Jones. That's another split conversation. They say get an offensive line. Look at the Saints game. Look at the Redskins game last year or 2 years ago. Look at him under Shermer in offense. But to me, Russell Wilson and Daniel Jones, it's not even a conversation. Russell Wilson knows NFL defenses, can improvise like no other. Okay, but I know what you're thinking now. Now, here's the cons. So the pros of getting Wilson are you're going to have Kenny Golladay, Kadarius Toney. He's going to help in the running game with his mobility. You have Saquon Barkley. The team will be reinvigorated. The energy will be better with Russell Wilson. Okay, you look at the defense of Patrick Graham, Ojulari, McKinney, James Bradbury, Julian Love, Adoree Jackson. You look at Leonard Williams. You also look at Dexter Lawrence in the middle of this defense. Healthy Blake Martinez next year. Tay Crowder, the kid from Alabama that's playing really well right now as a linebacker from the Buffalo Bills. So this defense, I think, is there. Special teams, Graham Gano, the punting game, the structure of Joe Judge. Russell Wilson wants to do this. He wants to move to New York. He wants to sell his book. He wants to sell his method. He wants to spread Christ, and he wants to spread his message of powerful, neutral thinking. All right? Because Russell Wilson's special, and Russell Wilson inspires people. That's what he wants to do. Him and his wife, Sierra, they're role models. They want to go to the biggest possible city. And then you look at this division is easy. So you add Russell Wilson. This is another pro for adding Wilson. The Redskins, okay, let's talk about them and Ron Rivera. All right? Their defense is okay with Chase Young, but they haven't been great. Taylor Heineke, 1 year of starting, has limited upside. He's played all right? The running game is not good. You own Washington. You own the D.C. team. You own the Maryland football team, the Maryland Tigers, or whatever they're going to be calling their team next year, right? The Redskins. You own that football team and that brand. That's the one positive in this 12 years is you own them. The Eagles are a rebuilding team with quarterback uncertainty. Jalen Hurts, second-round pick, has shown signs of life, but hasn't passed for that many yards. As a passer, he is inconsistent. Your defense just owned Jalen Hurts. Your defense last year owned Carson Wentz in both games, excluding a 5-minute stretch where it was terrible offense in the whole game. The Cowboys. You got hurt this year, but again, they have terrible contracts. They have Zeke. They have Dak. Mike McCarthy has shown to be very inconsistent as a head coach. He had Aaron Rodgers. He had a bad year last year. He still won a Super Bowl championship, so he still has some stability, and I don't think people give him enough credit. They're the toughest team in the division. Micah Parsons was a really good pick for them. Although he's a headache, we will see how Micah develops. Maybe the headache appears in year 3 when he wants a contract, because at Penn State, the people at Penn State, they show you that Micah Parsons, headache, locker room, immaturity, all of that. That's why the Giants didn't pick Micah Parsons. Your division's very winnable. Put it that way, the NFC East. Everybody knows that. Russell Wilson knows that. This is an ownership that, again, has not had good quarterback play. Daniel Jones has not been good. You can blame the offensive line, but I don't think Daniel Jones has arm strength. I don't think he has mobility. This team has no pop. This organization's had no pop, no sizzle. 1-5, 2-5, 1-6. Okay, you're watching football in November. It's not meaningful. You get Russell Wilson, the quarterback. It puts the puzzle together. With a defense in Patrick Graham, with Joe Judge, I believe Russell Wilson next year, a healthy Russell Wilson with Kenny Golladay, you maybe draft some linemen to supplement your team. I believe the Giants next year can be division champions. I believe you can host a home playoff game at some point next year, and then you can compete. And you can give these fans, like I know with McAdoo that they made the They made the wild card that year because Dallas was dominant in 2016, 13-3. But the offense was nowhere close. It was the easiest schedule. If you remember, they beat Case Keenum. They beat Andy Dalton and the Bengals by 2. They beat the Detroit Lions along that stretch. So I know that you made the playoffs and you got hot and you sacrificed everything and the defense was great. You beat the Cowboys 10-7. 10-7. There wasn't a complete team. This team's never had offense and defense working for them. You have Russell Wilson. He has Pete Carroll, who's an older coach. He's been in Seattle for how long? For a decade, 12 years. Pete's old, gonna retire. They want something different. This dude wants something different before it's all said and done. He wants to play on the East Coast. Are the Giants then going to draft some offensive linemen that the Giants could mess it up? Okay? Look, the kid Tristan Wirfs from Iowa, who's considered a project, looks better than Andrew Thomas right now. How did Saquon Barkley work? How did Daniel Jones at the 6th pick work? So the point is, I know you have draft picks, but that doesn't mean that they're going to hit. Russell Wilson is a known commodity. He's going to hit. I'm tired of losing football games. So getting Russell Wilson, he isn't Derek Carr. He's clutch as nails. Russell Wilson's great. But then you can look at Russell Wilson. Is he on the downside? So I'll fairly get to the cons. Hasn't been playing well. Let's rule out last year, because last year was training camp football. It was scrimmage football. There were no fans. There were no adversity. When you can call out all your signals as an offense, when the defense has no noise in a building, it's dead. It's going to produce offense and laziness and terrible hitting and terrible tackling. You're seeing Patrick Mahomes come back down to earth. Josh Allen resort more back to the Josh Allen we saw during his first couple of years with, the COVID and the pandemic situation, guys, right? So Russell Wilson was awesome last year, but then in the playoffs he struggled. This year he's been, unlike Russ, 33 years old, and he's a 6-foot quarterback. He's not 6'4" like Tom Brady. He is smaller, resorts on mobility. Going to be 34 next year. You're getting him at the quote-unquote downside of his career. All right. You also have 2 picks in the first round, which you can use on a stud offensive lineman, or you can use on a defensive end from Michigan like Ojabo, because I believe Hutchinson's going to go before you. Now, you could get jumped, right, just like the Eagles got Devontae Smith. Then you were left at the 11th pick. You didn't want anybody at the 11th pick, so you made a good move with the Chicago Bears to own yourself equity and options right now. Derek Carr at 30 years old, if the Raiders don't get Dabo, he's playing at just a higher level than Russell Wilson. He's never won. Not as clutch as Russell Wilson. Small hands, hasn't played well in the cold. But he's younger by about 3 years, and he shows major upside, and he's taller than Russell, maybe more durable than a Russell Wilson. Jimmy Garoppolo could be fine. You could keep your first round and build for the future, not mortgage the future if you do not get Russell Wilson. I get all that. My argument is that draft picks are not a given. My argument is that I love the way this defense is structured. I love the way that you're going to get a Peppers next year that's healthy. You're also going to get Blake Martinez. This defense has shown the ability to compete at a high level along with special teams. You have Golladay, that's an elite wide receiver that's ready to be fed the football. All right, you have Evan Ingram that really working with Russ is a perfect tight end that could work with Russell Wilson, okay? You don't have an offensive coordinator, but you have an experienced quarterback in Wilson. It gives Judge, who doesn't know anything really about offense, that's his downfall, is he's not really analyzing offense at all well. He's analyzed offense poorly. That is his downside as a coach. Defensively, I think he's done really good things, and of course in the special teams part. But when you have the worst offense in the whole league, when you have Jones in that O-line, you're never going to win. You're going to always lose. Russell Wilson will add offensive structure, will enhance Joe Judge, will enhance this program. The ownership needs Russell Wilson, needs a star, needs a quarterback that is good. I believe Russell could still be good because Russell knows how to not take hits. Russell keeps his body in tick-tock condition. He spends over $2 million on keeping his body healthy. All right. And again, in this division, you will win. You will bring the Giants back to some stability. These next 2 years, by the way, with Russell Wilson, I think I think you can get into the Final Four. I think you can get to the NFC Championship, can get to the divisional round. And for Joe Judge, who is a young guy who's 39 years old, who's building himself like a Tomlin, you need that quarterback. I am all in favor of trading for Russell Wilson. What I would trade for Wilson, this is what I would propose. You give away the Chicago Bears pick, which is a top 10 pick, which is going to be a top 7 pick. You then give away next year's first-round pick. You're banking on winning the division next year. If you win the division, that pick will be the 19th pick in the first round. You're still going to have a second-round pick after that. I would propose to keep one of the top 10 picks for this season. All right? I don't want to give Seattle 2 top 10 picks. No matter what, your package is going to be better than New Orleans or Denver. Those teams are competing for the playoffs. They're going to be outside the top 10, I believe. All right? Unless they give away 3 first-round picks for Russell Wilson, I don't know if Denver's doing that. The Saints could very well do that. But for Russell Wilson and Sierra, do you want to go to New Orleans, which is a smaller town? You know, it is in the South. You are from Richmond. Or do you want to go to the Mecca, which is New York, which then your ability to spread the word of your training, to spread the word of your spirituality, that is enhanced going to New York. You're also still playing against Tom, which I guess is you want to do. The Falcons and Panthers are rebuilding, so I do get that. The Saints are a threat. The Broncos have very good defense. I get why going with Sean Payton is incredibly attractive for a Russell Wilson. Totally understand it. In every degree, I understand it. You play in the Dome. New Orleans is it's an incredible football city. It's a city of culture. It's a great city. Okay, it's even more of my kind of city than a really big city personally. All right, but for Russell Wilson and Sierra now, that's who we're talking about in this video. This is my proposal. Next year's first and the Chicago Bears first-round pick, you still get to draft a top 10 player, and you get to have Russell Wilson on your football team. And Russell Wilson, you maybe bring along Brian Schottenheimer, Joe Judge, then if he's going to keep this job, all right? You can make Judge the GM, right? But if he's going to keep this job, which right now he's on the brink because he's not performing that well, he's going to have to show a little bit of patience and succumb to ownership. And that also means Joe Judge, who loves running his defense, being very strict, you're now going to add a Russell Wilson to Joe Judge's ego. That is also something that Joe Judge is going to have to eat some humble pie and show some humility right now. The other part about adding Russell Wilson, which is very, very interesting, is that this year Desmond Ridder out of Cincinnati could be a second-round pick. Carson Strong could be a second-round pick. With Russell Wilson in the fold, you can also develop a young quarterback that learns from the great Russell Wilson at some point during this run. Just like Eli Manning handed it to Daniel Jones, and I know you can say it didn't work, okay? Because Daniel Jones, unfortunately, he does not have the football did not have the instincts, did not have the arm talent, all right, to succeed. That is my opinion on Daniel Jones. He just didn't have the physical talents. He had all the mental. He had some mental talents, all right, off the field, great worker, prepared, everything like that. Russell Wilson can then mentor the next QB. The point is 4 years of Russell Wilson with his training. I believe Russell Wilson and his training, there's no one that outworks Wilson. He will age gracefully in this NFL. This isn't physical 90s football where guys are burying quarterbacks into the ground. This is it where you touch a quarterback. You hit a quarterback out of bounds, just like you saw Monday night. It's a penalty, all right? So you do need really good passing, and that's what Russell provides. He provides a culture. For Saquon Barkley and Evan Ingram that have been nothing but losing, this is something that needs to happen. Needs to happen. Do you want to roll with a Desmond Ridder or a quarterback in Malik Willis that has played, yes, hasn't played great competition, Malik Willis, is a smaller quarterback, was really ran successfully, and runs an offense where he's half reading the field. That's what Liberty and Hugh Freeze does, and it's very effective. Do you want a Matt Corral that's smaller, has a weird throwing motion, has had an unbalanced college career, and that personality-wise at times has been brash when he was younger, left Florida when he was younger, all right? Ridder's very good, but Ridder will make mistakes. Ridder doesn't have the mobility. He's not as smooth throwing the ball as Russell Wilson. You got Russell Wilson, yeah. I understand the picks. But again, I'm ready to win. And I believe you can win big. I believe that, you look at what Bill Belichick does. His first-round picks haven't worked out, but guess what? You have a quarterback. You have a situation. The defense, I'm telling you guys, Logan Ryan, the team needs something to rally around. The defense needs the offense. They need something to believe in. Russell Wilson, the defense is frustrated with Daniel Jones. I just know that they are because, again, they play great and they still lose to the Dolphins. They still lose these games to the Falcons. This team needs something special. Russell Wilson, you add Russell Wilson, it's like adding Tom Brady, okay? You add Wilson, everybody perks up. Everybody works harder. The wide receivers, everyone buys in. He is magnetic. He is special. I'm in favor of doing it. Get Russell Wilson.